Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're tackling a really profound tension that's sitting right at the intersection of our professional lives and our personal boundaries. We're talking about the ethics of workplace surveillance. It's kind of like a classic tug of war, right? On one side, you've got a company's drive for ultimate productivity, and on the other, an individual's fundamental right to privacy. So we're going to break down exactly what the research tells us about this dynamic and how we might actually balance organizational needs with human rights.
So let me ask you something right out of the gate. Is your computer watching you right now? It's a pretty jarring thought, isn't it? But as you sit there, working away, clicking through your daily tasks, your digital footprint is very likely being measured. In the modern landscape of work, this isn't some paranoid hypothetical anymore. It is a structural reality for millions of people. And to really understand why that is, we need to take a look at how the workplace itself has completely transformed. Which brings us to Section 1, the rise of digital monitoring. Well, with the massive explosion of remote work, the physical boundary of the office pretty much vanished overnight. And because of that, management methods really had to evolve to keep up. So companies are now deploying some incredibly comprehensive digital oversight. And what does that actually look like? It means tracking raw computer activity, applying algorithms to measure actual productivity outputs, and even analyzing communication patterns in chats and emails to gauge engagement. It's a really fundamental shift in how our work is verified.
Now, it's important to note that the motivation here is rarely malicious. These systems are implemented with a very core economic goal in mind: increasing efficiency. Companies are just actively looking to streamline their operations, figure out where the bottlenecks are, and optimize output across a totally distributed workforce. So, at its heart, it is a fundamentally operational intention.
Let's dive a little deeper into that in Section 2, the employer's perspective. If you put yourself in the employer's shoes for a second, their argument is that monitoring ensures accountability and productivity. When those traditional lines of sight are gone, managers can't just walk the floor to see who's engaged anymore. This surveillance acts as a necessary bridge. It guarantees that expectations are being met, that teams remain accountable, and ultimately that the business stays competitive. But of course, there's another side to this story. Let's look at Section 3, the employee's reality. This is exactly where the pursuit of efficiency collides head-on with the human experience. On one hand, you have the employer's focus on pure operational accountability. But on the other hand, you have the employee's lived reality, which often includes profound discomfort, heightened stress, and the very real psychological burden of feeling constantly watched. It turns out that relentless drive for peak performance directly generates a lot of anxiety.
And you know what the biggest collateral damage of this whole dynamic is? Workplace culture. Constant surveillance effectively treats employees like suspects rather than trusted professionals. And that strips away shared trust, which is literally the invisible glue of any high-functioning organization. It's incredibly ironic, but the absolute pursuit of accountability can actually end up destroying the exact culture you need to sustain long-term productivity.
So how do we fix this? Let's move on to Section 4, finding the ethical balance. How in the world do we reconcile these two completely valid realities? Well, the ethical challenge is all about finding a balance. Organizations genuinely need to function and survive, for sure, but individuals also have a fundamental right to a workplace that is free from undue psychological stress. We absolutely have to harmonize these two truths.
To actually build a fair and respectful environment, the research points to three essential pillars that must be present. First up is transparency. That means no secret monitoring, data collection, and exactly what it's being used for must be completely out in the open. Second is consent. Employees have to explicitly agree to these parameters. And third, clear boundaries. We need to clearly define exactly where professional surveillance ends and personal privacy begins. These pillars are what prevent a tool meant for efficiency from turning into an instrument of oppression.
As technology continues to advance, those goalposts are definitely going to keep shifting. So, I want to leave you with this final thought. Where do you draw the line between productivity and privacy in your own workplace? I highly encourage you to apply this framework, transparency, consent, and boundaries, to your own professional life. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep asking those important questions.